Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I am your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pinos Palace just west of Orlando, Florida. I am in the Xtreme Studios with the young 20-something, Professor Pixel. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing our coverage of Columbo, a first-watch TV show for us. We are on Season 4, Episode 4, called Troubled Waters, starring a lot of people, but primarily the big baddie in this one is Robert Vaughn, who I will get into shortly because I marked out about it in Pixel. Couple quick observations, about this episode. I had to rewatch this thing like 5 times because I kept falling asleep, and it's not because I didn't like it. But as I was watching it, I thought this is a really weird episode, and that's either really good or really bad. But it's definitely different, and I love some things about it. Some things are very bizarre, and that's what I hope to get into tonight with you on this stream. And there's an old expression, in case you haven't heard, and my job is to educate the young so my legacy can live on here. We could talk about troubled waters all we want, but as I've read somewhere, still waters run deep. And that's actually true, not just metaphysically, but also in the natural world. So we've got the love boat that the Columbo's going to be on a cruise and shit happens, which I'm really like the idea of all this here too. And it's one of the episodes I think's longer than some of the standard ones for whatever reason. And I'm just going to stop right there before I poison your young mind here because I know it's very malleable at your young age or two. What was your initial take on this?
Um, well, I'm glad that I'm not the only one who had to rewatch it a few times. Total of 3 times. By the third one, I was just trying to pick up any little things that I could. This is definitely an interesting episode.
Since you said it that way, predicated on it, I would argue it's like another episode we watched recently that I said was good, but wasn't very fun. Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
Okay.
not at all. Actually, I think this wants to be a fun episode. I mean, absolutely. Let's go ahead and just start setting it up. Because we have Columbo on a cruise. He's going on the boat. Ship. He gets corrected.
This is filmed on a real life thing, and everybody in the background are real life people. This is like a real life cruise. This just isn't props. That's what I loved about this. It's a very period piece from the early mid 70s. That was awesome.
That's very nice. Yeah, no, that's nice. I've been on a cruise a time or two. Different ships, but a lot of the same things. There's only so much you can do on a cruise ship.
Drinking, and you're looking for rooms with pineapples on them for some people.
Is that what you're looking for, sir?
I am not.
Oh, okay.
Because I will never go on a cruise in my life.
Really?
Don't. I am not cattle, sir, and I will not be. No. Cannot pin me down that way, sir. And we have a lot of them here in Florida, and we know a lot of times they go to the Bahamas for gambling, or there's the illegal ones that go down to Cuba, all these other ones too out of the Gulf Coast. I mean, there's a lot to come from. So I'm glad that you went on a overly inflated water ride. I'm sure you'll tell me about how it compares to your experience.
No, because I haven't been on one in over 10 years. So.
Well, alrighty then.
So at this point, my cruising days are long gone.
Be mindful of your phrasing.
We have Columbo. He explains that he's won this. His wife won it. And he's just trying to find her. And the ship's captain's there. And he goes ahead and says,
"Who's the ship's captain, sir?"
What is captain? What is
the actor?
Oh,
Mr. Avengers.
I never saw the Avengers.
Patrick Macnee. Yeah, he's a name. He's very Britishy.
Yes, he is. I recognize the face, but I haven't seen the classic Avengers. Anyhow, he goes ahead and points to Columbo in the right direction, where we see in the background Robert Vaughn. Oh, his name is Hayden Danziger here.
And because his name's Hayden, he's automatically evil.
He's got a little bit of an older lady. Doesn't look that much older, but they're trying to exaggerate it some. But he introduces the wife, and I have a bunch of people on this cruise here, and I'm very excited. I want them to have a great old time. The champagne's already in their room, sir. After that, we get a scene of Columbo. This is very odd because Columbo isn't on a case at all. He's the furthest thing from it.
That's right.
But he's still wearing the same outfit. There's one thing I will say about this episode. I love that we're seeing Columbo out of the coat more. Because out of this one, he's wearing just the suit that he usually wears underneath without that raincoat. And it's a nice suit.
Yeah, it adds a little depth to the character without meaning to. Like, you have to write it in. You just put him in a bit of a different situation or whatever. Like, we saw him run down a hill in one of the season episodes. That we saw him on a golf course, but I don't know if he was hitting because he's kind of an athletic guy. He's not the biggest guy in the world. So it is interesting when we do see people presented that way. Absolutely.
And then there's one more scene before we get into the meat and potatoes. We get a behind-the-scenes look of Robert Vaughn Hayden's and his wife in the room, and he's complaining about the golf clubs. The maid didn't pack the golf club, not clubs. Sorry, gloves. The golf gloves, and he gets disturbed by that, and she basically like, you can go ahead. Civilization's gone down to where we're going. You can just buy him there. Don't need to act like a brat. And he goes ahead and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey."
She's completely wrong. She is completely in the wrong. When you have your servants and they're supposed to pack, and you're packing your clubs and you're going, to another country because maybe you want to hit the links for an 18 or something like that, and ignore your wife, you got to pack everything. So I'm sure his shoes are in there. Hello, I'm sure his gloves should be in there too.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we know why he really
golf clubs. Golf gloves.
Yes. Well, I understand. They're on the boat. The vacation has started. To get this upset over something that they can go ahead and just buy another pair down there, I don't. There is no reason to really be that upset about it.
Completely wrong, sir.
No.
Pitched into her job, she should get fired. But my old wife, who's got all the money, is not going to fire her. I got to tell her all this. I got to whine and complain because that's what Robert Vaughn is. So, as minuscule as this sounds, here's the thing with golf. Being in Florida as the king of golf down here in the Central Florida, usually you only have one glove for your hand. So if, like me, I'm left-handed, I would wear a glove on my right hand, and I would have my non-gloved hand, which is my dominant hand. And I, take one of the two basic grips there, the Varner grip, or the other one, it's just like what we call like a hockey grip, where you're just grabbing the thumb around it too. So when she says pair of gloves, she doesn't realize it's important that you have that for your swinging. And golf is the one sport, especially back then, that you paid a shit ton of money for your equipment. All that was definitely a rich upper class kind of thing. And they're a rich upper class couple, and their maid is getting paid her below average wages to pack gloves correctly. So she's supposed to do it, sir. But the point, I'm joking with how this kind of halfway, but the point is you find out who their characters are really quick through this brief exchange. Yeah. It's not trivial. And it's also not trivial for what happens with the reveal later. So I was planting seeds.
Yeah. We also get to get a look at I can't remember Lyle's, not Lyle, Lloyd's actor's name. But we get to meet Lloyd and the band as they're sitting at the table waiting for.
That would be Dean Stockwell, sir. How dare you? We've seen him before in the show. Died in the pool. Dean Stockwell. The show everybody loved in the 80s that I really didn't watch? The Time Transit Quantum Leap. That guy.
Oh.
That's him! With the mini fro.
Yes. Awful hair.
Great hair and great facial hair, sir. You're completely wrong.
No, I don't see that. I'm sorry.
It's lush, it's curly, it's full, it has life of its own, it's everywhere in his body.
Uh-huh.
And it's natural. It's not a wig. It's not all the fake crap you get today. It's tremendous. Come on, man. You're underrating the quality of hair in this episode.
Okay, speaking as somebody who has bushy eyebrows, there's only so much hair that you're allowed to have.
No, more. This is the 70s when you would show it. No, I'm serious. Everybody today does not have any hair. They're like babies. Nobody has their little dick root showing with the little knot going up to their 150-pound abs or what like that, and no chest or like that, but they're lean and ripped and all that. No, everybody looks like a prepubescent boy. Just saying.
Got powerful feelings about this stuff.
Hair is important, sir. It represents vitality in life. And in the 70s and the 80s, it was glorified. And we should understand that that will never change. That's all I'm saying. Just because it's watered down in the current cultural generation of the films we watch here on the Xtreme Movie Show, as well as television shows, doesn't mean it's any less important. Man, I wish I had coffee because I am on fire, sir. I'm going. Let's go. Let's get going, baby.
Okay. With that, we also get to meet Rosanna Wells. Apparently, Lloyd and him had a fling. She says, "Leave me alone," and he blows up and walks off. But part of the band, singer, they're going to be working together that night. And there's no problems with that later. We get these.
He takes it to heart.
we get these scenes after with Hayden going around. Oh, I was supposed to get 2 sets of keys. I only got 1. Oh, that could be riveting. So here you go. He sneaks another one, takes a key cutting set, and he's cutting away.
Well, because he's doesn't he like own a bunch of like car dealerships?
Yes.
So he's like a magnate for that kind of stuff. So this is absolutely badass. Him cutting his own key that he kind of swiped from the master key person's thing and put it back there. This, I have to sit there and say, as you're describing this, it was probably, I know at one other episode I said it was too long, too convoluted, too over one, and I want more. Because this one goes on for fucking ever, and I love it.
It does, because he does that, and then he gets like a brush by with Columbo. He's asking a question, and he's like, use your red button on the phone, leave me alone. And he walks away.
But what's the purpose of that interaction, you think, though, in terms of the writing? It's a coinky dink, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So what's Columbo asking of him, generally speaking?
Well, in that one, he was asking about how he can contact any kind of room service because of
because of blah blah blah. Yeah. But Vaughn is a natural. He's been on many cruises, so he's already basically have communicated to this person that he will find out later is Officer Columbo, right? And that's a coinkydink. Those things just sort of happen when you talk to somebody. They judge you based on your action. Oh, you just simply do this, blah blah blah. And again, we should all know that Robert Vaughn is a gentleman, a scholar, a diplomat, if you will. He's a man of culture. He's well traveled and well seasoned. So it was nothing more to just look at this little guy running around kind of all haphazard. So you simply do this, sir. I mean, it's tremendous. Robert Vaughn's the man. He's no Jack Cassidy. And I'll talk more about Vaughn later, but I'm hyping him up here a little bit. But the point is again, with the writing, to me, this is a throwaway. When I rewatched it, I went, oh, this helps establish who this guy is when they have their official introduction like 20, 30 minutes later. It's not filler.
Well, I'm not. I wasn't saying it was filler, but it didn't.
Right. But for longer, for this one's one of those ones that's like 15, 20 minutes longer, the episode, I was looking for the filler. This was not.
After that, he goes ahead and he sets up the scene. He goes into Lloyd's room, puts a, not a forged, but I guess you could use the term doctored, receipt for a pistol in his lockbox of important papers. I keep mine in the lunchbox.
His relock box? Never mind, that's a song reference.
And then he goes into Rosanna Wells' room, hides the gun, and that's when she walks in, and we get to see, oh, well, she's actually blackmailing him because they had spent some time together, and he doesn't want the wife to find out.
This is a baddie, the current parlance, the words that people like to use, the word like that. She's a bad girl, and she knows it, and she's got a bad body, if you know what I'm saying here too, because she's the singer, and it's incredible because I'm sitting there going, this band's phenomenal, and I'll gush on them here a little bit later, but yeah, she's like, yeah, it is what it is. We had our little thing there, and I want some money, and if not, I'll go see your wife. And he's looking at her like, the hell you will. It's like, because he's the man, and now he's finally met a woman that he can kind of go, wait a minute, I can't just have a relationship with you, or whatever like that, because obviously he's screwing on his wife with her, and you can understand why he would. Not because his wife's bad, that's something I'll talk about later, but because you look at her and you go, she's a hot thing, right? I mean, it's an item. He goes on his own to these trips a lot, ran across her, they had a thing, and she's already established the fact that she's a whore because she banged the one dude one time and he wanted some, so he's a mark. Yeah. This is a great setup. And it continues. We're not done.
No, we're not done, because then he goes by the pool the next day. Or maybe the same day. It doesn't really matter. He is out there. He's wearing his
whoa. Time out. What does he do to her before?
Oh, he slaps her.
No. He decks her in the face. He wobs her. The old knuckle sandwich across the bow. We haven't seen a woman punched in any of these episodes yet. This is great. Because we've seen shooting, we've seen stab, we've seen things, right? Or, they hint at it and whatever, so we're getting kind of lazy with the guns, in my opinion, right? What does he do? He just wallops her. She gives him like this real stare, like, yeah, I'm going to get you. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is, I'm loving it, man. Give me the popcorn. Punch that whore down. She's staring daggers at him. She's not dead yet. Because he has to overdo it, which is what you were getting ready to talk about.
Yes. He goes out and I'm curious about what his original plan was, because obviously that's why he was upset about the gloves. But what do you do when something that doesn't work out? You pivot.
You have a plan B, and then you run like hell.
So plan B is he goes ahead, he's by the pole, he breathes something in, and falls in the water. Help me. Oh my God.
This is fucking awesome. He's faking his own heart attack in front of everybody with the smelling salts or whatever it is. Let me Google that right now. Amyl nitrate smelling salts, if they're the same thing, because I don't know.
Well, it does spike his heart. And they go ahead, they get him down, and the doctor's like, you may have had a minor heart attack. You're going to stay in here tonight. Oh, but I have so many guests. No, I insist. And the nurse is there, and they're kind of, he's just got that natural flirtation that he has, and she's kind of catching that. Seemed that way to me anyway.
Oh, it's not smelling salts. I'm wrong. This is a sex drug.
Yeah.
Poppers. I've heard of poppers before. Okay. But it's not smelling salts. I was at a gym function, and we were having a lift, and we were doing the deadlift, and the guy was going for his personal record of like 650 or something. Big, huge some bitch. And he would pop smelling salts every time before he would go up to give himself a bit of a rush. So I was wondering if it was the same stuff, but no, this is the vasodilator type nitric acid stuff that you hear about like in current forms today and all that raises your blood pressure too and all that, but it allows you to last a little bit longer. But the side effect of all that is that, you can have, heart palpitations and other kind of stuff there too. So yeah, sex drugs were around back in the day. Don't anybody act like they're brand new. Because he's a player. Let's be honest. He's the man. And honestly, let me ask you this. Do you really think he was pivoting here as his plan B? I don't. I think it was all tied together. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't really tell though.
I cannot think of any reason that he would freak out about the golf clubs. That's what I thought it was. That, like, why make such a mention of our golf gloves? Because he was planning on tossing them out into the sea.
We'll get to that at the end at the reveal.
But yeah,
Because there's a couple issues with
He
what you're saying that's more bad writing to me.
he ultimately is getting checked on every 30 minutes. So he waits, sets his plan in motion. 11 o'clock rolls around. After the check, he sneaks out, grabs a pair of rubber gloves, and runs along to the service staircase where he can go ahead, change into busboy clothes,
Mm-hmm.
go all the way downstairs because the show is broken, so they're going to go change. And he's able to get to a room, get in, take a pillow, shoot, and use the lipstick to write the letter L on the mirror before running away.
And we're still not done.
We're still not done. Well, I mean, that is the murder.
I like how when he whacks her, she just kind of falls forward and you see her old back because when they come back to the room later to investigate and all that, she's still there. I just thought it was tremendous. And the whole firing through a pillow thing to muffle it. I'm here. Hello?
No, that's what I said, a pillow.
Oh, pillow. It sounded garbled there. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. And obviously he's putting an L or two. And she's a very attractive woman. The thing is when we saw her singing, she was singing an Italian song that's really popular called Volare. That was a very big Dean Martin thing too. And yeah, exactly. And it's like it's not up there with My Way with Sinatra, but it's close. But yeah, but this nurse is like I don't know how to describe it because she's very hot, she's very sweet, she's very nice. She's reading like some metaphysical book, smoking a cigarette, which again, like I told you, everybody smoked in the 70s everywhere, and even into the 80s. And he's someone who's able to just like walk behind her. It's a joke. I mean, it's like I go, and this is one of the things that was a bit unsettling about the show. I'm popping over Robert Vaughn because I've always liked him because he plays a certain kind of guy, and you know what you're getting. Now, the way he may be written, or the way the reveal might be written, are things we kind of always talk about with this show. And to me, I'm going, okay. The Columbo run around looking for his wife, which I know we'll never see.
Yep.
That's not funny. But I like Fish Out of Water. I like the Love Boat setting. I love watching the different lighting and people walking on carpeting and seeing postcards, stuff like that for something that's over 50 years old. Love it. Brings back memories. And I love this overly elaborate supper. What guy said, I'm going to fake my own heart attack? It's tremendous. It's absolutely stunning. But there's something about it where I'm going, okay, but like you said, gloves was an issue. And then shooting through that, well, if you're going to go to these great lengths, you had a pistol and you didn't have a silencer. It just was kind of like, I don't know. But there's going to be a couple things like that that kind of confused me, like the gloves confused you.
Ultimately, though, a knock is had on Columbo's door. He opens it. The captain would like to speak with you. And so, give me a moment. He's getting dressed as he's walking over. No raincoat. He's wearing his regular suit that he's getting on. And he's taken to the singer's room where the body is found. And at once, he's like, well, I don't have any of the normal things that we have to preserve the scene, to capture it. So I need a photographer. And he's asking the doctor if he has a whole bunch of things so that way they can check. And the doctor's like, no. No. And then Columbo starts getting a little queasy. I guess.
Motion sickness.
I guess so.
No, that's what it is.
Well, yeah, no, that's why he goes back there. But like, I don't understand why it's happening now suddenly. But ultimately,
moving.
I mean, he was moving throughout the day.
The boat's moving.
The boat started moving when he bumped into Robert Vaughn earlier.
Okay, so have you ever had anything like that at all? Experienced it physically?
No.
Because if it's look, there's different types of pain. There's somebody beating you up. There's like nerve pain, which is really really tough. Like if you get burned by something, it really fucking hurts. It's different than like breaking or whatever. but some of the most disgusting feelings that you can have are just being off center, off balance with your ears and all the nausea and vomiting and all that kind of stuff. And I don't just mean you puke because you had a bad meal or Montezuma's revenge or anything like that. It can just come on to you at a moment's notice and you don't even know it, even if you can see the shore or you're on a stable platform like that. And I think he was motion sick. I don't know if it was in the one episode. I don't know if it was in the Johnny Cash episode where flying in the plane or something like that, or something. I thought he had it before. I didn't think this was new. But my point is, this is yet another thing that whether it's continuity or not, it's just a convenient way for him to get into the doctor's office while this is going on, which I don't like.
Yeah, no, because it's not like that's why he ends up going there. But the doctor is right there.
Mm-hmm.
But the nurse might have it. So he goes down over there after he was inspecting the feather, and he goes ahead. Oh, he gives him a little something to help it. He drinks it down, and then what does he notice over there on the floor? A feather. A feather.
Yeah.
Just the one in the pillow. And he picks it up at that very instant. He knows. The mystery is over. Columbo, obviously we've had it where Columbo figures it out early from the first interaction. He didn't even really interact with the guy, and he knows.
Yeah, you think so?
Absolutely. Why else would he grab the feather and look at it like that? He knows, and he's asking who's in here. And that's when they bring the body down, and he's like keeps looking at the door. And so while they're all distracted, he opens it. Oh, I'm sorry. And he tries to just ask a question or two, or just go ahead and build a line. That way he has a line of communication later on. And he's like, oh, this patient's very sick. You need to leave him alone. Very tender. So at that very moment, it's done. And it's done so much so that later in the episode, Columbo has to say it.
Yeah. This was weird because look, when you have pillows, and clothing was much higher quality back then than it is today. With the stitching, the hand, the materials, all that stuff. Cotton. There's different kinds and thread counts and all. We can argue we're blue in the face, but bottom line is quality was a lot higher in a lot of things, and certainly clothes is one of them. So a special kind of pillow, a down pillow that you fill with like duck feathers or whatever it is, goose downs and all that kind of stuff. Those things matter. Like wool breathes. That's why that's really good. But down here in Florida, you'd want to wear linen if you can because it breathes well too, but it's very wrinkly and so on and so on, right? So I had no problem with the fact that, he shot her, and he, again, not having a silence is one thing. So, okay, so he used the pillow. All right, we've seen this before. I guess in TV shows he would know to do that. But the fact that after faking your own heart attack, I felt let down because Columbo, if he just wasn't there because he got a little bit motion sickness, to look down and see it and then go, hey, whoever's in here must have brought it in. And then he sees the guy and then blah, blah, blah. I was deflated. No pun intended there, because I thought, for this long, elaborate setup, I wanted it to kind of stretch out a little bit with him trying to figure it out. Because then we know who it is, right? And we know that as a viewer of Columbo. But I wanted to see Columbo have to go through the boss levels, right? The C level, the B level, the A level, until you get to the final boss. Yeah. And you're right, we don't get that. It's like that almost felt like filler, like we didn't even need to have that angle. And also too, they don't set it up anywhere with Robert Vaughn's wife, who's older and has money, because there's an exchange later on that I really, really liked. It's one of the pictures I included, and I just felt like they didn't explore that too.
Yeah, no.
You're right, though. I was deflated a little bit too. I agree. He knew it at that point. There was no interest in the discovery process part of it that he goes through. It was mechanical at this point, I thought. That's where I think it slowed down a bit.
So what it is Columbo has to basically prove it to everybody else, because he already knows. He's like, oh, well.
Yep.
Because he can't say, I found a feather, and that'll do it. He has to explain exactly how and why he could do it, because Lloyd is being set up. So every single time that they go ahead, they speak to the band, they speak to Lloyd, let's talk in the cabin, and the captain's like, oh, well, You had a fight with her earlier. There's a gun registered in your name. We're going to keep you to quarters. We're going to Mexico. It's done. It's pretty much done to him. And at that point, Columbo is just trying to figure out how he can explain how. Sorry, I got distracted by the magician that
conveniently has a gun.
Conveniently has a gun. Because there had to
and
be
his assistant's not that hot. Should be. Why is a magician's assistant a hot woman? Why do you think?
Oh, well, I mean,
why?
Well, what's your reason?
I'm asking you. What are your thoughts? They're always a hot woman. Why?
Yeah, it's an attractive side piece. Sex sells. A little bit of sex.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Like the moving hands. Oh, you're focused on her. You watch less what you're doing because you're trying to make everybody your mark. That's why.
So she wasn't hot enough to do that for you?
It just felt like when it was interesting watching all these blue hairs, blue hairs, old people that were getting their social security checks, like the go to the gambling degenerate places like Vegas and here in Florida, right? And all the Indian reservations. So they're the ones that take a lot of cruises back then, right? And even now. So you're seeing all these background of people just doing whatever, and I love it. And so what they have on there, they have the singing band, which was playing "Girl from Ipanema" and a bunch of other great jazz standards. They were a nice band. And then they have a magician, which makes sense. But it just felt like, oh, now's where we're going to put in a magician with a not so hot assistant because we're going to have this shooting trick so we can introduce the gun. It just felt forced to me. It just was like, really? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just laying out the pieces so that way it can be used later. It's following Chekhov's gun a little too literally.
Yeah, so basically they talk to a sad sack musician who boned her once and doesn't get to again, and he's pretty convinced, yeah, I don't think that that's it.
And we get kind of like, I don't know how to, it's not the same scene twice, but Columbo goes up to Robert Vaughn and has to basically say, hey, I want your assistance because of your guest, because you're the one close to them, just so that way anything that would involve them, I want you to help with. He does that 2 times. He does it the first time after the hospital when he talks to him, and then a second time to establish another further example with him. I don't know. It's unnecessary.
I'm not going to say it's unnecessary in a sense that, but this is also confusing too, is that, okay, when you're in international waters, what rules do you follow, right? I mean, there's an answer for it, and the ship, the guy's got his own charge. They got thrown in jail, I think, on the ship. But Columbo, they're asking the problem I have here with Patrick Macnee is an excellent actor. He's been on tons of stuff. The older listeners know who he is. What confused me here with what you're saying, because you're not wrong, is this that at the early on they ask for his help, and he tells them what they need to do and all that, but yet the captain, who's the ultimate authority, and technically, even though you're a police officer, whatever you want to call yourself, what jurisdiction are you in international waters, bro? Columbo, fuck off. I mean, which of course none of the killers ever say that, right? Or until it's too late. And so I just thought, wait a minute. Not only is that confusing, which they don't address, it seems like the captain is like, well, we're going there and we just can't do this and that. We have to hide the body, not let people know. And I understand that that's his primary responsibility because they had already set off. But I don't think they would have gone all the way to Mexico. I think they would have stopped and turned around if there was a death. I could be wrong, but hey, it is what it is. If you're cynical and say no, they would go on them, I'm fine with that. The problem is just, he has to basically argue with Columbo because they're trying to figure out the group of people that might have a reason to be a suspect. And so that's why they lump him into basically all the blue hairs, then the people that have been repeatedly on the ship a little bit as they find out, and then of course all the people that work there. And he's like, well, how dare you say that? And it's like the way they're going about it, I understand what they're trying to address, the type of people that you can approach and not, but I just don't think it was very clear and done because you're right, he does say it more than once. And it's like Robert Vaughn's like, well, yeah, I'm in charge of all these guys here. I can help you out, let you know, or whatever like that. But if you're Robert Vaughn and then you find out, well, let me back up one step. We have the quote unquote incidental meeting at the beginning, which established him as somebody that's been on a cruise. He kind of's already met him in that room, and to your point, probably already thinks he's the killer, just because this feather's in front of the door, right? And then finds out more, it gets closer and closer, right? And you're right. I think the way you described it is beautiful. He has to convince everybody else. Doesn't have to catch the guy. He has to be able to get the evidence to convince everybody else. But here's the fucking problem, whether it's the golf gloves or not, and the final reveal, which we'll get to, is you got the gun, you shot him, you're telling me in your this perfectly executed, overly elaborate scheme of yours, even faking your own heart attack, that you couldn't have just run to the side of the fucking ship and throw it off like you did with the other stuff? Bullshit. I mean, I know he was planting the gun so it looks like the other guy, whatever, but all you had to do was throw it away. That's it. Oh, it's over. Even though you forgot the gloves or the gloves weren't packed and you found this other pair of gloves, it all worked out and you threw them away. It's over. Get the fuck out of here. I'll say more about gloves later, but it didn't make sense to me. This guy was too good. And I'm like, what the fuck are they trying to do with the evidence here? That was just very shoddy to me. So
what do you think because the next morning, laundry guy finds the gun in the hamper where Vaughn had thrown it.
Mhm.
And they use a pencil to pick it up. He's like, you're going to damage his barrel like that here.
Oh, I have no problem with stuff like that. I've heard of older stuff like that before.
No, I have no problem with it. But
okay, but
he goes ahead and he's using the pencil to start getting some of the lead shaved down so that way he can check for prints. There's no prints. And then he has a mattress brought up. And he
absolutely asinine. This is stupid.
And he has Robert Vaughn shoot it. Why?
Exactly.
Well, I just don't get the point of
you don't get the point of what specifically.
Why he had him shoot it like that. It's not like it's going to because they're all seeing him do it there. It's not going to.
They're trying to match up like each gun has its own unique fingerprint, and that's the grooves in the barrel when you fire it because it rotates a certain way and it produces a unique pattern when you fire a bullet through it. So you can compare a bullet from here to here and see which gun it originated from. But why to have him do it if that's what you're asking?
Yes.
There was no need for that because they could have done it. You're right. I think that's the writer's way of saying, oh, this is our way to show that Columbo's squeezing him, because the real reason why they found the gun was because a sentence or two before there's a cut scene, which would have been a commercial before they came back to this scene here was, well, we haven't found any evidence. Cue, ding, 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 ding. Hey, look what my guy found this morning, Columbo. Okay, great.
All right.
Yeah, it just was too easy.
And then as they're going through, they're walking by in the bar, and in the background you can hear, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
All the background stuff in here was awesome.
It's great. I do like that. I found it entertaining. But he's explaining pretty much why he doesn't think Lloyd did it to Robert Vaughn.
Yep.
It's an interesting situation to have to explain to the person that's setting up somebody why it's not them. Why did he keep this receipt? Oh yeah, because that's the next bit. He's like, oh, why would he keep this receipt? Everything else is deductible. He can't deduct the gun. So why does he keep the receipt? Why is it here? We know why. Columbo knows why. And Vaughn's like, well. It's there.
Yeah. It's there, yeah.
And then we get one of the great parts about this is we get Columbo running a lot down the stairs because he's timing himself to figure out how long it would take him to get down to the room using the main stairs up from the hospital. That's what it is. From the hospital down.
Yep.
And He does that a few times. And then at one point, he has him check his blood pressure, and he's asking if they keep a physical inventory of the gloves. And that's when we get Columbo talking to Lloyd one more time, asking, "Hey, have you seen? Look at the picture that I have there. Do you recognize that man, Robert Vaughn?" And it's like, "No. Do you think your girl had another guy?" "Yes." "Well, I think it was him." And Lloyd asks, "Do you think he killed her?" And Columbo just flat out says, "Yeah. Yeah."
What did you think of that? Since you mentioned earlier in the episode, you felt Columbo knew immediately who the killer was.
I actually, after watching this episode the other day with my brother, I showed him Any Old Port in the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh crap, what's Leonard Nimoy's episode?
Is that A Stitch in Time or Crime or something?
A Stitch in Crime. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
A Stitch in Crime. And in, I'm trying to remember which one, he also like picks up very early. And that's
Right.
fine. It's fine to pick it up early. But to have it in such a way that it's like definite. There's no explaining away, because he knows that pillow, that feather that he found is his piece. That is the pop of the episode, as the writers would call it. And so him telling Lloyd, "Yeah, I think he did it, but don't tell anybody because I'm still trying to prove it to everybody else." It's annoying. It's really annoying. It bothers me. And then we get to your favorite scene. So why don't you take us through this one, sir?
Well, I think we're saying a lot of things that we like about the episode, and some things that we don't. And I think the parts that we think's not working is just the writing stuff, the conveniences. Because the thing about Robert Vaughn to me is that, I mean, I've always liked him. I mean, he's not as cool as like a Jack Cassidy or some of the other guys, but he is his own man. I remember him snorting cocaine off boobs off of ladies in the 80s and movies and stuff like that. He had a certain charm and presence about him, and you get what you get with him. You know, he's not going to be a character actor that changes like some actors can do or whatever. So I really liked his understated performance in this here too. But what I found myself getting a little, not frustrated like you're sounding, but maybe a little just dispassionate about it. Maybe it's what put me to sleep, is that I don't care. Like you said, I don't care that Columbo figured out early on probably that this is the killer. But to your point, when the smart line to me that Columbo basically had said was that, well, why would he have this? That would be stupid of him to do it. Not that people don't do stupid things, or they don't do things that in the moment seem to be okay, but later on you just don't know what kind of repercussions they can have, right? Because they haven't happened yet. People are looking at things differently because there's a murder involved. And he had said that in a previous episode recently as well, too, about, well, you know, if somebody wants to kill somebody, they just wouldn't do this because that's blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. That's why the whole glove thing I mentioned and harped on a little bit earlier was a bit of an issue, because when, you know, she's thinking like it's a pair of gloves, you know, like if you're driving, you have two driving gloves, you know, which nobody does, but back in the day they would say, and with the golf thing. So, but this whole thing, it leads into what the reveal will be. So I'll only say too much. Them doing the chain of custody with the really hot but absent-minded nurse, really beautiful, elegant-looking woman, underused in my opinion. I just don't like this whole idea of trying to figure out the count of the gloves that could be in there. Now, like you said, Columbo went up and down, right? You know, timing, working his way through what the killer would have to do, where he was at on here and all that. And that's kind of cool. That's detective work. That's the meat and potatoes of it. It's not the aw shucks, you know, intuition moments that people think they get. Your subconscious is working on and all that bullshit. It's the meat and potatoes of hardcore information finding. Well, what if this person was him? How would it fit and everything else there too? But I will say that as much as I'm dispassionate about gloves, because no man should ever have to wear a glove, you know what I'm saying? the fact that he tried to kill himself with a sex drug and whatever they figure out and talk about here shortly. I like the fact that there's a shot in there with him and talking to him. He's like, well, let me ask you this, doctor. What could cause blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to figure out the heart rate and his, HIPAA violations that were so clearly violated here, right? With his heart rate and his blood pressure and all that too. Because that's how it would be in the 70s. Oh, yeah, we'll give you some of this and you'll just go back to whatever like that. You probably had a mild heart attack, no big deal. I mean, I've seen plenty of those. But when he finds out it could be, this or this, Columbo goes out to the pool among all the people who have no idea what the hell is going on. And what does he do? He drags the water filter, whatever like that. And conveniently, there's the fucking capsules that he used to pop his stuff. And I'm like, are you that fucking stupid, Robert Vaughn? You'd be so fucking elaborate that you would just dump him in the pool? I mean, are you fucking kidding me? This did not make sense to me because he finds him and he gets the doctor to identify it. So you're kind of like, everything's like lining up for Columbo, but it's just too easy. And it's unfair because Robert Vaughn went through great lengths, except for little things like this. Like I don't fault Robert Vaughn, the actor or the character, for the feather being by his door. But maybe I wanted to see him in a hurry, trying to cover it up, one stuck to his shoe while he was running away, and then it would make more sense. It just seemed too easy and convenient. And this scene really made me groan, honestly, because he goes to the pool and I'm like, he's going to find the fucking caps.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I guess you have to have it or whatever. I just, the thing with the gloves is the idea, I guess, is if you shoot a gun, you're going to have some powder burns on you. And so if you're wearing gloves, you wouldn't have them. And so they disproved it there. But it was just, this is where I'm getting kind of like checking out of the episode, honestly, because this third act was very like flat to me.
What about the scene with the wife?
The scene with the wife, I think I have one of the pictures there posted up with one of the lines that she has there. Let me pop over to this other screen. Let's see if you advance it or whatever like that. Columbo basically goes out to kind of like see, talk to her and all that. And actually, I thought there was a really good exchange there too. I'm not seeing if you've advanced the photo unless we're on a delay.
I put it up.
Okay, so
Very
I'm not seeing
satisfying, feeling like a woman.
There it is. It just popped up. So what I liked about here is originally at this point I'd already felt kind of like the air was out of the balloon a bit. So I was disappointed, like we mentioned earlier, about how they didn't try to involve other people in this. But what I liked was, even though she's an older woman with money and maybe Robert Vaughn's her boy toy or whatever you want to call it, I honestly liked the dialogue between her and Columbo, if nothing more than it just seemed kind of open, even if it wasn't. It explained their situation, which I guess makes it pertinent, but I loved kind of the meta aspect of it when she basically says, oh, no, you don't understand, Columbo. I know who he is, and I know who I am. We married, we've got something. As long as we have it, we'll do it. And he's complimentary. He's like, yeah, you're very like open-minded woman or like that. And she's like, no, I'm not actually. If it stops being that way, it's not going to happen. So the point is she's a woman that understands who her husband is. She understands she has the money and wears the pants literally in the family. She does not come across as shrewish or like deserve to die like an episode or two ago that we saw that really pissed me off. I kind of liked her. Or at least I liked the strength of her stance on the issue of what's going on there. And I thought, man, and he's basically telling Columbo, no, this is how it is, and I'm okay with it. And I know I caught it when it says it's very satisfying and feel like a woman because she is in charge. And I said there's always been sometimes a strong feminist bent that got really pushed in the 70s, really in the 60s, honestly, and going in the 70s for a lot of reasons culturally, and it would pop up in cultural things like movies and television. It's obviously not so subtle anymore. But I thought this kind of captured the, hey, I'm strong woman, hear me war bullshit that was, big back then. But I don't mean it negatively because I look at her and she's an older woman. She's not unattractive by any means. She carries herself somewhat nice. Why begrudge it if your wife's got money and she's earned it or whatever? It's not like she's, a playgirl or whatever like that, or trying to run a company never has done it before. But you can make them interesting. And so Columbo's looking at her like, oh man, I got my ass called out on her, and she explains it to him in no uncertain terms without being mean at all. And I thought, wow, what a very wise sounding on woman. And that's why just this exchange, I thought, honestly, it was the deepest of anything that happened in this episode, so much so it stood out. And it even reminded me and shoved in my face what I just was bitching and complaining to you about here for a few minutes about some of the piss poor writing stuff, because I thought it's a complete farce, one, to not have involved her as a strong character somehow, some way. And also, what's a simple writing way that shows how stupid this is? He fakes a fucking heart attack on a trip to Mexico. She doesn't even go fucking see him while he's sitting there recuperating. Absolutely
Yeah.
asinine. Makes no sense at all. I mean, I can let stuff go like international waters and who's in charge, and can Columbo really press charges, and his evidence, is that going to be considered, that you can get it or not? Okay, I can let that shit go because I'm not a lawyer. But that just to me is completely unbelievable. I mean, and I love this exchange. I really did, because basically he's wanting the woman's intuition and perspective to see what kind of man he is, so he can basically say, yeah, I know I got the right guy here because a woman told me I did. And I like how Columbo does it, because he does a good job of listening to women on the show. That's intentional, and it's something that we probably will end up talking about more as the seasons go on. Hopefully that answered your question.
Oh, it wasn't a question. I just.
Well, yes.
Oh, well, it was a question.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to go over it because you were so impassioned by it. It was fine. For me, it was fine.
Well, it's like in Rocky too.
It's like
they have a baby, and Adrian's giving Rocky shit because she's like, hey, we're married now. We've got money enough to live on. You can do some other kind of stuff like that. I need you to be safe and healthy for me, because you're our son's father, and you need to be around for him. You can't be dead. You can't be crippled or whatever like that. So she's guilt tripping him like a lot of women would do. And it comes to the point where they have an argument so much about it. He's not training right for his fight, and she's like giving him the cold shoulder. And she goes in the coma, and they have this big, long, drawn-out sequence about it. And the baby's there, and he's finally capitulated. He's finally gone, yeah, I guess you're right. I have to be a mature, grown-up. Hey, if you don't want me to fight no more, I guess I'll go find something to do. And she doesn't even look at him. She's like, Rocky, there's one thing I want you to do. And she's like, come here. And she's holding the baby. And he looks, and she looks at him, and she goes, win. He goes, what? And then she makes eye contact. She goes, win. I want you to win, Rocky. So she gives him the it's okay, go do what you do. You're a man, be a man. And that's the whole point of Rocky too, because that's the whole fucking movie. It leads up to that. So that's weird, because if they played up Robert Vaughn as more of a playboy, like a Jack Cassidy energetic type, this might have been more fun, because it's not fun. But there was just something powerful in that exchange there that just reminded me of what we've seen with other Columbo episodes. Because let's be honest, up to this point, this is not a deep episode. There's nothing cool or hip about it. There's some yucks and all that and background stuff, which make it kind of entertaining. But I'm almost feeling like you and I think about the same thing about it, which is a little bit of a slog. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Will you take us through the last part, which is the slog of the slogs?
Let's get through this. Columbo, at the end, the captain has had enough. He's like, why do you do this? We have him. We have our man.
Because you asked me, Captain. Sorry, go ahead.
And he says, if I can have your attention, and he shows the clipboard, the heart rate of Robert Vaughn, heart attack, up, high, freaking out, calms down throughout the rest of the day until after 11:30. Why is that? Because he says, I believe he ran up the stairs, ran down the stairs, shot her, came all the way back up, and that explains the spike. And the captain's like, doctor? And the doctor's like, and then he explains about the capsules. He pulls them out. They're still kind of wet. And then he shows them, and they're convinced. So he has one more thing that he's doing. So it's a theme night. You can tell everybody's in costumes.
Oh, yeah.
He's walking there. He's wearing this brown Hawaiian-ish shirt. And
that's a good bowling shirt.
It's a good shirt. I like it on him. A good look on him. But he goes to Robert Vaughn. And he's like, well, here's the thing. You pointed out he wouldn't have had time, like with the gun. Wouldn't have time. So we don't have the gloves. We know he took a pair of the gloves from the doctor's office and used that. But where are they? And so he basically leads him to go into the magician's set late at night, grabs it, goes down into like the boiler room, and he fires the gun. He has the glove set. He hides it in the fire hose. Fire drill the next day. They find it. And Columbo is humming This Soul Man as he is looking at the gloves. And he's like, oh, well, no, if I think the captain actually points out the pencil lining that he's getting out. And he's like, I thought you used something else to inspect for gunpowder, detective. And he's like, oh, yes, I do. Here's the thing with these silicone gloves. I can get a fingerprint. Inside out. And he's like, well, I've looked at the fingerprint.
Are you certain you can get one?
Yeah. He's like, well, this isn't Lloyd's because I took them earlier this morning. I had that foresight. Why don't you go ahead and give us yours so that way we can end this thing? And he's like, that is mine. Does it make any difference if I tell you that I did that intentionally? And the captain's like, but why would you do that, sir? Yeah, why? There's no good reason. None. And he asks, what did it? What made you find out? And he pulls out the feather. He's like, feather from a pillow. But that could have been from the hospital pillow. No, sir. Because of allergies, you'll have a silicone padded pillow in there.
Mm-hmm.
Feather would only be from the rooms. And that's it. We get a little Columbo rushing along at the end. Where's my wife? My wife's on the skiff on the side, and I need to join her. And he's like, oh, she's just that way. And that detective is a boat. And he says, to hell with it. And then it's over. Thank God.
That was long, for sure.
This isn't a good one. Not at all.
It ranks really high on a lot of lists because, like I say, I always watch it without reading about it. And then I might rewatch it again or some parts or something's confused me. Or sometimes, like you said, on a rewatch, you can catch things that you didn't see. They go, oh, that makes sense. Or you look at it a little differently, right? Mm-hmm. And then I go, okay, I pretty much know what I'm going to talk about. Send you some slides. You come up with yours. And then we talk it clean, right? So the amazing thing to me is this is one of those ones that people rank really, really high. And I don't. And here's the thing with Robert Vaughn. It's like, when you've got a Ferrari, sir, and I don't know what your penchant for cars are because you're young and all the cars are the same and they're not sexy anymore. It may not matter to you anymore since everyone waits till they're 50 to get their driver's license instead of 15. But if you had a Ferrari and someone wanted to toss you the keys, what would you do?
I mean,
you got to take it for a fucking ride. You got to ride it. When you're gifted Robert Vaughn in an episode, you got to ride him. And him faking his own death and all this over elaborate stuff is great. And then it was a whimper here at the end. And I went, Robert, I've been glazing you this whole episode, as everybody listening here knows right now on the Xtreme Movie Show. And you went out like that. I can't blame Robert Vaughn for that. That's the writing. And I know they have their template. I know they know how they're going to end it. The scene sets that up. Very little filler in this particular episode. I get it. And it's not a bad episode, but it's not a fun one. There's interesting things to pop and mark out over, oh, that's kind of cool, or that's badass, or whatever. But it's just, they could have done so much more with this episode between his wife, dangled this out a little bit longer. They could have just, I don't know, fleshed it out more. But yet at the same time, I love the fact that when they're outside on the ship, it's a real ship and you can see the real skies and they're really going on a cruise, whether it was to Mexico or wherever, right? In real life. I mean, it's the Love Boat, I think, actually, or that type of boat. So
fun fact, it was on an episode of the Love Boat, but it wasn't the Love Boat.
Okay. But the thing is as a kid in the 70s, like I'm 4, 5, 6 years old in the mid 70s, right? Because I was born in 70. When Love Boat and all this stuff would come on, when first time you see like people flying planes or other things, that was a big deal because you didn't have the internet to go say, oh, this is what it looks like in another country. You relied on movies a lot and stuff too. So when people capture what it really feels like, and it's still that way today, like you might get an old Alfred Hitchcock film, like if he's doing the 1955 film with Grace Kelly and all that, with the thief and all that stuff there. I mean, I still haven't seen France Look Better. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Maybe they could have done more with the boat, or maybe they could have the reveal out in public, or maybe the magician could have just felt like it was forced. It was just, little tweaking here and there, maybe. I don't know. It just I don't rank it. I don't have it ranked high either. And I love Robert Vaughn, and I love how overly elaborate this was, and I love the fish out of water. I love it
I,
on the boat.
I'm
So
gonna
it's one
be.
of those things where I've got like 5 or 6 ingredients that I really, really like, but the recipe's not put together well, right?
I gotta be honest with you. I also don't. You were saying a few episodes with the Dick Van Dyke episode how why would we what about this guy is so what is it that will make you like him? I'm not really feeling that here either. Like you get a longer time with him, I don't like him. I don't want him like I'm not enjoying him as getting through with his little excuses. I don't have anything here. It's just Columbo collecting what pieces he can because he's already figured it out. He already knows who did it. And to watch all of that for a woman that gets killed, and I'm like, I don't care about her either.
Yeah.
Good that we don't have to see her anymore. No, she was attractive.
Right, there's no emotional payoff in this because of how flat they made some of these connections. Like wouldn't it have been cool if like we think it's him, but here's the thing: since we know who the killer is, it would have been cool if it was his wife. It sets him up to look for it because he knows that she cheated on him with her. I mean, it would be an obvious thing or whatever, but when have we had that? I mean, it's like like I said, there's elements here of what could have been, I think, a fantastic episode if they just went in a certain more committed direction. Here, I think they were just convinced to kind of get it through it. And there's nothing memorable about it other than, oh, that's the boat episode. Really? I mean, and Robert Vaughn is a big letdown because to your point, and I agree with you, and even though you can sit there and say, well, I just like Dick Van Dyke, that's a legitimate answer in that you can go, well, he's a nice guy. I feel comfortable when he comes on screen. He makes me smile. That's just his natural charisma. And I would get it. So how do you make him likable where you want him to get away with it? Or how do you make him evil? Right? I think some of the better Columbo episodes, especially since, we're through season 4 as we continue our journey here, it almost is like any old port in a storm. We understand where they're coming from. We see them involved in something with the emotional stakes are high rather than, oh, the bitch is going to, tell my wife, so I'm going to kill her. Well, I get it, but to your point, yeah, Robert Vaughn, I like you because I know who you are, but if I don't know who you are and you're just showing me, you're not giving me something. You're going to roll over like that in international waters because of a fucking plastic glove you failed to throw over the fucking, go fuck yourself. It's almost insulting how little depth they gave the whole thing to it. It's like, oh, we'll have an overly elaborate setup. It'll hide the lack of depth emotionally. That's really the important thing, right?
It's not a fail. He was tricked into going ahead and shooting a gun. He was tricked into giving his fingerprints in a silicone glove.
They can lie and cheat and get you to do anything to confess. They can legally and get away with it. Sovereign immunity, all that stuff. Yeah. Look, overall, there's a lot of things to like about the episode. I can understand why people like it high. I agree with you, and I think this is one of the first time, we've loved some episodes. We've had a couple disagreements, but I think we both agree that this one's just not that good.
It's not.
Yeah.
And I want to like it because it's fun seeing Columbo out of the typical element. It's fun seeing, oh, well, I'm on a cruise. I want to cruise. That's fun. I like it. Even if we don't get to see the wife, that's fine. But it's to have that and just
waste it.
This was a wasted premise.
Yeah. And we're probably in a minority with that, and I don't care, but that's why we go through and talk about it, because like I say, you're the young 20-something generation, and I'm the 80s kid, so I'm in my 50s, and so it's a first watch for both of us. It's hard to find some of those shows that it's a kind of a fresh thing, and even though I kind of knew what the character is about, going through these, it's just a blast. And so next week we go to do episode 5. I have no idea what that's going to be. That's going to be really, really exciting too. So I want to thank all the people that showed up tonight listening, that retweeted out, like Rom, who showed up here tonight, and Channel, and some others there too. Columbo's very popular for us. It's the show we've gone in the longest outside of Twin Peaks and a few others. So we have shows there. So please check that out. We will be here live Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Miami Nights, as we like to call it. That's when we RDV and I cover Miami Vice. We're, I think, on episode 5 there of season 1. Go check that out. It's currently playing on Amazon right now. And then you and I will be live again next week at this time to continue our Columbo coverage. Any other final thoughts, sir?
No more things. I'm done. No more questions.
Get yourself a spread white collar and a cravat and your Robert Vaughn already.
Just like Columbo already figured out the mystery, I've already figured out that this is over. Good night.
Good night, everybody.